Good afternoon to you all and welcome to this insightful book review program, Talk the Book of Andhra Pradesh State Council of Higher Education. And it's pleasure to welcome you all to today's book review, and which is going to be a satirical masterpiece of the intrigued and amused readers for over 3 centuries. That is Jonathan Swift's The Battle of the Books. Now, this Battle of Books is being reviewed by a young and a dynamic literary enthusiast, Miss Geeta Lakshmi Vallabhaneni, who brings both passion and depth to the world of literature. A student of BA English Literature at Andhra Loyola College, Geeta has already made remarkable strides in the literary field, presenting insightful papers on renowned writers such as Jane Austen, Sir William Shakespeare, Jonathan Swift, Nadine Godmere, and Charles Dickens at different seminars. In addition to her academic excellence, Geeta reflects in her impressive 85% score and has showcased her leadership skills as the literary head of Andhra Loyola College, organizing engaging activities like quizzes, elocution, essay writing, and debate competitions. Her talent for rhetoric and creative writing has been acknowledged widely, earning her a gold medal at the prestigious National Presentation Competition by Impact 2024. Geeta is also a versatile artist and performer, having won accolades for her impactful street play, Navachaitanyam, which highlights the evolution of gender discrimination from ancient to modern times. As a bibliophile and blogger, she uses her creative energy to compose thought-provoking blogs during her leisure, and her strategic mind is equally evident in her passion for playing chess. With such a rich tapestry of accomplishments and talents, Geeta's perspective on literature is bound to inspire and enlighten us. Now, please join me in welcoming Ms. Geeta Lakshmi Vallabhaneni to share her insights and reflections on the book, The Battle of Books of Jonathan Swift. Geeta.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, esteemed gathering. I am Geeta Lakshmi Vallabhaneni, a third-year undergraduate of BA English Literature at Andhra Loyola College, Vijayawada. I am delighted to be a book reviewer for today's Talk the Book session. I'm going to give a book review on an 18th century, The Battle of the Books, written by Jonathan Swift. I extend my sincere gratitude to the APSHE, the organizers, and Dr. Srirangam, academic officer, APSHE, for affording me this opportunity. I also wish to express my appreciation to Dr. G.A. Prasad Rao, librarian, Andhra Loyola College, for his encouragement and support in participating in this prestigious book review session. I'll commence by offering a succinct introduction to the Battle of the Books written by Jonathan Swift, as well as dwelling into the author's background. So, about Jonathan Swift. Jonathan Swift lived during the Augustan Age, a golden age of Latin literature, which is famous for the three successive reigns of William III, Queen Anne, and George I. Anglo-Irish poet, essayist, and satirist, Jonathan Swift was born on November 30, 1667, in Dublin, Ireland. He spent much of his adult life in England before returning to Dublin to serve as the Dean of St. Patrick's Cathedral in his last 30 years of his life. It was this 30 years of his life where he produced one of the greatest works, The Gulliver's Travels, A Modest Proposal, and A Tale of a Tub. Proper words in proper places makes the true definition of his style. Jonathan Swift focused on the economy of words and the logic ideas rather than the sonorousness which other writers mainly focus on. He focused on the controversies which projected his times. So now I'm going to project and share an insight on the driving force that inspired him to write this book. So, what's the driving force behind this book? Until the dawn of Renaissance, the ancient learning and knowledge are looked upon as a summit of human civilization. The ancients are worshipped as the ultimate authority in all fields of literary acquisition. But when Europe suddenly emerged from the early Middle Ages into the modern era, the writers discovered a new values in secular life and a new confidence in man's unaided confidence. And it soon broke itself from the ultimate authority. In a twinkle of an eye, a fracas broke out between the ancients and the moderns in the second half of the 17th century in France, and this literary conflict did not leave the England untouched. Coming to the Battle of the Books. So, what is this book about? It is a direct upshot of the literary controversy regarding the comparative merits of the ancients and the moderns. Here, the ancients are the writers of the ancient Greece, Rome, and the classical writers of the age. Normally, the word battle means a war, but here in this book, it modifies the situation between Jonathan Swift's patron William Temple and his rivals William Wharton and Richard Bentley. So, who is William Temple? William Temple is the patron of Jonathan Swift. He is an astute diplomat who wrote an essay on the ancient and modern learning, in which he supported the supremacy of the ancients like Homer, Virgil, Plato, Horace, Aristotle, Ovid over the moderns like Descartes, Francis, Hobbes, Locke, Milton, and so on. His rival, William Wharton, is a supporter of modern learning. He is a great philologist of that era. He published his reflections upon ancient and modern learning to lock horns with Temple, and those who sided with William Temple before are ridiculed. Before we dwell more, have you ever wondered what would happen if the books on your shelves should come into life and engage in a fierce battle of ideas? In this book, The Battle of the Books, Jonathan Swift has brought out this imaginative concept through a thought provoking and satirical exploration, a war of ideas with words. Coming to its setting, it takes place in St. James's Library in London. Here, the ancient books again are the classics of the Greece and Rome, and the modern books are the contemporary literature. The keeper of this library is Richard Bentley, supporter of moderns, and Charles Boyle accidentally mixes up the books of the ancients and moderns, which sets the stage on fire. Structurally, this book is comprised of 5 episodes. The first episode is the fight which takes place. The first incident is a conflict between the ancients and the moderns who fight for the right to live on the highest peak of the Mount Parnassus. For this conflict, for every conflict, there has to be a reason. So, what's the underlying reason for this conflict? Long back ago, the ancients are the sole inhabitants of this mountain, and they lived on the highest peak of this mountain. One day, the moderns came for a refuge and they asked for ancients to give some place so they can reside on the mountain. Taking pity, the ancients gave them space that is the lowest peak of the mountain, Pararsis. As time flew by, the moderns asked the ancients to give up the dwelling because they couldn't see the east part of the mountain. Otherwise, they will bring down their settlement to the lower peak. To this, the ancients didn't agree, but they offered them help to uplift their settlements. But the moderns disagreed and a war broke out between them. At the end, both the sides claimed victory, hung out their trophies consisting of the pamphlets of attack, replies, rejoinders, and so on. Some of them are buried in an obscure corner, which came to be known as the books of controversies, which are haunted by the horrendous spirits like Aristotle's spirits, Scotus, and Plato. In this library, the spirit of Aristotle and Scotus turned Plato spirits out of the library. These spirits suggested that a champion should be on both the sides, to which the moderns didn't agree. During this fight, the librarian Bentley collected all the books of the ancients and buried it some corner. And during the all this burying and fight between the ancients and the moderns, heated arguments were exchanged, and again they got ready for another battle. Out of these moderns, who supported the ancients was William Temple. Coming to the second episode. In our house, we see all kind of insects like spiders, bees, butterflies, and other insects. This second episode comprises of the spider and the bee. It takes between them. The spider is depicted as the representative of the moderns and the bee for the ancients. The spider is happily sitting in the center of his castle when suddenly a bee came through the library through a broken window pane. It got stuck in the spider's castle and it tried to free himself. The spider, seeing this, got very frightened and fled towards the bee and in a hurry and fury and showered it violent abuse. By the time it reached the bee got freed himself from the castle. Here, what Swift depicts is the spider lives in the self built poison castle, which is easily destroyed in the dark places. On the other hand, the bee lives in a honeycomb in an open place. It gathers the honey and wax from the flowers and fields and spreads the whole universe with two things: sweetness and light. Coming to the main part, this is the third incident which deals with the main battle of this book. The ancients and the moderns stood face to face in the battlefield. Here, the members of the ancient are Homer, Horace, Virgil, Pindar, Aristotle, Ovid, Plato. The moderns are Descartes, Desperox, Dryden, Francis Bacon, Hobbes, Locke, Milton, and so on. Though the ancients are very small in number, they are very strong and powerful. And thus the battle began. Aristotle shot at Bacon and missed, and it hit Descartes, who was killed immediately. Homer slowed Denham and others. Apollo saved a celestial part of Denham and turned it to a star in heaven. The next encounter is between Virgil and Dryden. Dryden is already in a ridiculous figure when he met Virgil, and he made a long speech of kinship with him. Later, he proposed an exchange of armor in which Virgil is urged by the goddess's diffidence, and he exchanged the armor with him. Coming to Pindar, he slew many moderns before he came towards Cowley. Cowley was split into two pieces, and one piece was taken by Venus, who harnessed it into a dove. The fourth incident, Swift introduced the celestial elements, the gods and the goddesses siding with the ancients and the moderns. All the fighting happening in the library was reported by fame to Jupiter in heaven, and he immediately called for the council of gods. The god of ridicule, Momus, sided with the moderns, and the goddesses Pallas with the ancients. Here, god Momus, fearing that the moderns will be slain immediately, he goes to the goddesses criticism, who lives in the Nova Zembla on the highest peak of a mountain. Here, goddesses of criticism, she lives with her husband, ignorance, her mother, pride, her sister, opinion, and ill manners, dullness, vanity, imprudence are all her children. Momus requests her to go and bless her devotees in the Royal Library in London, and she immediately goes there only to find her son Wharton in library. She silently blesses him and disappears from the scene. The fifth incident, it deals especially with Bentley and Wharton. Bentley and Wharton are the rivals to each other. I mean, to the temple. Bentley and Wharton are rivals to William Temple, the patron of Jonathan Swift. In this episode, the war ends and the evening comes. During the evening, while the moderns are retreating, a captain by name Bentley abuses the chief with speech because they laughed at his grotesque figure. Then one of the chief, Scaliger, replied to Bentley saying that they could take whatever spoils they can find from the war. Therefore, Bentley and his comrade Wharton set out hoping to calm the ancients as they were wandering. Now they come across Aesop and Phalaris lying fast asleep because of the exhaustion from the war. Here, Bentley tries to kill both Aesop and Phalaris who are sleeping, but meanwhile, he was caught in the hands of goddesses Aphrodite before he could kill them, and all he could get was their armor. Meanwhile, Wharton reached a fountain named Helicon, which grants people the knowledge and the literary acquisition and poetic affluence. While he was about to drink, a sip of water from the fountain, god Apollo prevents him, and all he could get was a handful of mud. Then suddenly he saw Temple, the general of Ali, of with the ancients, and he prayed to his mother, criticism that his rival, ancient, that his rival Temple should be hit with the spear that he is about to do, and his soul should go to hell. The first part was heard by the god and goddesses, and they granted it. But the rest of the prayer got scattered in the air. When Wharton darted with his spear, it just grazed the belt and it was unnoticed by Temple. Then Apollo, who saw this doing, ordered the young Boily to take revenge on Wharton, and soon he was chased by Boily. There he saw Bentley returning with the armor of Aesop and Phalaris, and soon he also got chased by the young Boyle. After some time, they both stood against each other with exhaustion. Then the young Boyle suddenly, with all his strength, darted his spear at full force. At full force, the spears both, and first Bentley and then Wharton. Thus, both of them died on the same spot, and they got reincarnated as the stars in the sky. So, coming to the title, The Battle of the Books. So, are all the books, all the authors of the books which are published during this era and the ancients are recorded in this book? No, it's not. The battle, as per its title, is a full account of the battle that was fought on Friday between the ancients and the moderns in St. James's Library. Is only a partial account as some ages and writers have been omitted. From the start until the end of the satire, Swift indirectly supported the ancients. And we can find this because the ancients are shown as polite and courteous fellows, while the moderns are shown as rude and aggressive. In this book, Swift has chosen only those moderns who were degenerated by Temple in his essay. So, what are the themes present in this book? The themes which are presented in this Swift satire are pretension, enthusiasm, sham ideas, and fanciful projects. One of the major themes is the madness of pride involved in being one sage is supreme and inferiority to the other's derivative works. This theme is illustrated through the ongoing debate between the ancients and the moderns, where the moderns believe that the age of reason and science is superior to the superstitious and limited world of the Greece and Rome, while the ancients argue that all that is necessary to be known can be found in the works of Virgil, Cicero, Homer, Aristotle, and Plato. So, coming towards the conclusion, the literatures of the epoch always follow either the theme of the past or corresponding age. Also the structure of the ancient literatures for their inspiration. The themes, structure, and the styles of writings are sometimes adapted or adopted. And it just revolves like the rotation of the earth, which is unstoppable. The ancients are the roots of the tree of enlightenment, and the moderns are the leaves and flowers which will continue to bloom from the branches of the tree as the reflection of time goes on. Therefore, one should always know the unwrapped past to present the present, a gift of future. Thank you.
So thank you, Geeta, for bringing out all these initiatives in the type of the how the books, the ancient ones and then the modern things, how they are intrigued and how the readers were amused over these fight of the books or the battle of the books. So thank you very much for being. Dear viewers, next Friday, let us meet with a Telugu book review. Till then, stay safe. Thank you. Thank you very much.